I recognized them the moment they walked into my office lobby. 17 years hadn't changed them as much as they probably thought. My father's hair was more gray than black now, and my mother's carefully maintained appearance couldn't quite hide the worry lines around her eyes. But they were still the same people who had thrown me out with nothing but a backpack and the clothes I was wearing. "Mr. and Mrs. Bennett to see you," my assistant's voice came through the intercom. "They don't have an appointment, but they're quite insistent." I watched through the one-way glass as they stood awkwardly in the reception area. My mother kept smoothing her dress, a nervous habit I remembered from childhood. My father's jaw was clenched, his pride visibly warring with desperation. "Send them up," I said quietly. "But Clara?" "Use my professional name, Ms. Chen." I had taken my grandmother's maiden name after they kicked me out. It was easier than explaining why an 18-year-old was living alone, working 3 jobs, and somehow managing to attend college part-time. The memory of that night was still crystal clear. My acceptance letter to art school had arrived that morning, a full scholarship to one of the most prestigious programs in the country. I had been ecstatic, dreaming of finally pursuing my passion. No daughter of mine is going to waste her life drawing pictures. My father's face had turned that dangerous shade of purple I'd learned to fear. "You'll go to business school like we planned, or you'll get out of this house." "But Dad, it's a full scholarship. I won't cost you anything." "Cost isn't the point." He had slammed his fist on the kitchen table. "The Bennetts are business people. We build things, we run companies, we don't do." My mother had stood silently by, as she always did during his rages. Her only contribution had been a soft, "Think about what you're doing to this family, Sophia." I had thought about it. I had thought about years of trying to fit into their narrow definition of success. About the business classes I'd suffered through in high school while secretly filling sketchbooks with designs. About the internship at my father's company where I'd spent every lunch break working on my portfolio. "I'm going to art school," I had said quietly but firmly. "I've earned this." "Then get out." My father's voice had gone cold. "Get out and never come back. You're no longer our daughter." My mother had watched me pack a few belongings, her silence louder than any words. The last thing I heard as the door slammed behind me was my father. "She'll come crawling back when she realizes her mistake." But I never crawled back. Instead, I built something they could never have imagined. The first few months had been brutal. I lived in a tiny room above a coffee shop where I worked mornings before classes. Evenings were split between a waitressing job and a late-night shift at a 24-hour convenience store. Every free moment was devoted to my art. Then came the breakthrough. A design I created for the coffee shop's new menu caught the eye of a customer, a marketing executive from a major corporation. One job led to another. Soon I was freelancing for multiple companies, my distinctive style gaining recognition in the design world. By 23, I had my own design firm. By 25, I was expanding into digital marketing and brand development. At 28, I started acquiring smaller agencies, building a network that would eventually become Chen Global Partners. Now, at 35, I owned one of the largest marketing and design conglomerates in the country. My work shaped how people saw the world's biggest brands. The company my parents had never wanted me to start was worth billions, and they had no idea. They thought I ran a small design studio somewhere in the city. The few times they tried to check up on me over the years, usually through distant relatives, I had maintained the fiction of modest success, just enough to avoid their interference, not enough to interest them. But now they were here, standing in my company's gleaming headquarters, about to discover exactly what their artistic daughter had built. The timing wasn't a coincidence. Bennett Enterprises, my father's company, was failing. Bad investments, outdated business practices, and a complete failure to adapt to digital marketing had left them vulnerable. Their stock was plummeting, and rumors of bankruptcy filled the business pages. Last week, they had received an offer from an anonymous buyer, one of my shell companies. The offer was fair but came with conditions. The entire management team would be replaced. The company would be restructured. The Bennett name would be absorbed into the Chen Global brand. They had 72 hours to accept. I watched through the security cameras as they rode the elevator to the executive floor. My mother's eyes widened at the obvious luxury surrounding them. My father's frown deepened as they passed award after award displaying the Chen Global logo. "Your 2 o'clock is here, Ms. Chen," Clara announced, ushering them into my office. I had designed the space carefully, Modern but not ostentatious, impressive but not intimidating. The wall behind my desk displayed my first professional work, the coffee shop menu that had started everything. Please sit down. I gestured to the chairs facing my desk. How can I help you today? They didn't recognize me immediately. 17 years, designer clothes, and success had changed my appearance as much as time had changed theirs. But as I turned to face them fully, I saw the moment realization hit. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Sophia? My father's face went through a remarkable series of color changes. What? How? Actually, I said calmly, it's Ms. Chen now. But yes, hello mother, father. It's been a while. The silence that followed was deafening. Through the window behind them, I could see the city skyline, my city now, in many ways. The building that housed Bennett Enterprises was visible in the distance, its aging facade a stark contrast to my modern tower. You own this company, my father finally managed. Chen Global Partners, I confirmed, along with several other businesses, including soon Bennett Enterprises. Another long silence as the implications sank in. The buyout offer, my mother whispered. That was you. I nodded, pulling up the relevant documents on my computer. Through a subsidiary, yes. The terms are quite fair, considering the company's current financial state. Fair? My father's voice rose slightly. You're talking about destroying everything I built. Replacing the entire management team, eliminating the Bennett name. The same way you tried to eliminate me. I kept my voice level. The company is failing, father. Your methods are outdated, your marketing is non-existent, and your reputation in the industry is toxic. The only value left is in the physical assets and client list. My mother reached for my hand across the desk. I moved it away smoothly, pretending to adjust some papers. Sophia, dear, she began, we know we made mistakes. Ms. Chen, I corrected her. And yes, you did. But this isn't about mistakes or revenge. It's business, pure and simple. The irony of using my father's favorite phrase wasn't lost on any of us. You have 48 hours left to accept the offer, I continued. After that, I'll begin approaching your clients directly. Given that Chen Global already handles marketing for most major corporations, I don't anticipate much resistance. My father stood up abruptly. You would destroy your own family's legacy. I looked him directly in the eyes. You destroyed that legacy 17 years ago, when you decided your daughter was worthless for wanting to pursue art. Everything since then has just been business. The word worthless hit him like a physical blow. He sat back down heavily, his face ashen. My mother was the first to recover her voice. All these years, she whispered, we thought you were struggling, running some little design studio. That was why I wanted you to think, I replied, turning my computer screen to show them Chen Global's latest financial reports. It was easier than dealing with your interference, or your judgment. My father leaned forward, his business instincts temporarily overriding his shock. These numbers. This is impossible. From art? From understanding how the modern world works, I corrected him. Something you never managed to grasp. While you were clinging to outdated business models, I was building the future of brand communication. I pulled up more figures. Chen Global currently handles marketing and design for 60% of Fortune 500 companies. Our digital division shapes how billions of people interact with major brands. That worthless art degree, it taught me how to see what others miss. But why hide it? My mother asked. Why let us think? Because you never deserved to share in my success. I cut her off. You stood by silently while he threw me out. You watched me pack a backpack with 3 days' worth of clothes and didn't say a word. You had 17 years to reach out, to apologize, to show any interest in my life beyond superficial checks, to ensure I wasn't embarrassing the family name. She flinched at the coldness in my voice. And now, I continued, you're only here because you need something. Not because you care about me, but because your company is failing and you heard Chen Global might be interested in acquiring distressed businesses. My father straightened in his chair, some of his old arrogance returning. Now see here, young lady. No, I interrupted sharply. You don't get to young lady me anymore. I'm not your daughter, remember? You made that very clear 17 years ago. I'm the CEO of the company about to buy out your failing business. Nothing more. I pressed a button on my desk. Clara, please bring in the final acquisition papers. My assistant entered with a thick folder of documents. I noticed my mother's eyes widen at Clara's designer outfit, probably worth more than their car. The terms are simple, I explained, laying out the papers. Chen Global will acquire all assets of Bennett Enterprises. The company will be restructured under our brand. You'll both receive a generous retirement package, provided you sign a non-compete agreement. Retirement? My father sputtered. I built that company from nothing. You can't just. Actually, I can. Your board of directors has already provisionally approved the sale. They know it's this or bankruptcy. I smiled thinly. Apparently, they trust the little girl with her drawings more than they trust you. My mother reached for the papers with trembling hands. There must be another way. We're family. Family? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Let me tell you about family. I stood up and walked to the window. When you threw me out, I slept on park benches for 2 nights before finding a room I could afford. I worked 3 jobs while studying full-time. I went hungry more times than I can count. And not once, did either of you try to find out if I was okay. Turning back to them, I continued, but I did have family. The coffee shop owner who let me sleep in the storage room when I couldn't make rent. My art professors who gave me extra projects to help me build my portfolio. The clients who believed in me when my own parents wouldn't. I pressed another button, and the wall of awards lit up. Every success, every achievement, every step forward, I did it without you. And now you want to be family again? Now that I'm successful enough to be useful. We made mistakes, my father said quietly. Terrible mistakes. But you're proving my point, aren't you? You did become a brilliant businesswoman. No, I cut him off. I became a brilliant artist who understands business. There's a difference. Every campaign we create, every brand we build, it starts with art, with creativity, with everything you dismissed as worthless. I sat back down at my desk. You have 48 hours to sign these papers. After that, I'll proceed with hostile takeover procedures. Your choice. My father stood up slowly, his face a mask of conflicting emotions. You would really do this? Destroy everything I built? You destroyed everything that mattered 17 years ago, I replied calmly. This is just business. Isn't that what you always taught me? They left my office looking shell-shocked, the acquisition papers clutched in my mother's hands. As the door closed behind them, Clara came in. Your 3 o'clock meeting is waiting, she said softly. And are you okay? I looked at the coffee shop menu framed on my wall. My first real design job, the beginning of everything. I'm fine, I said. Actually, I'm better than fine. Call Harrison at the Financial Times. It's time they knew who really owns Chen Global. The next 48 hours passed quickly. My parents signed the papers with 4 hours to spare. The news that the mysterious CEO of Chen Global was their estranged daughter broke headlines across the business world. 1 month later, Bennett Enterprises ceased to exist. The buildings were renovated, the brand was absorbed, and my father's legacy became just another subsidiary of my empire. My mother tried to reach out several times, leaving tearful messages about family and forgiveness. My father, his pride mortally wounded, disappeared to a vacation house in Florida. But I had one last surprise for them. At the official announcement of the acquisition, I unveiled Chen Global's new charitable foundation. The Sophia Chen Scholarship for Arts and Entrepreneurship would provide full funding for students rejected by their families for pursuing creative careers. Art isn't just about pictures, I told the assembled press. It's about seeing possibilities where others see nothing. It's about creating something new from what others throw away. The first scholarship recipient was a young woman whose parents had cut her off for wanting to study fashion design instead of law. When I handed her the certificate, I saw in her eyes the same fire that had kept me going all those years ago. Never let anyone tell you your dreams are worthless, I told her loud enough for the cameras and my watching parents to hear. Success is the best revenge, but helping others succeed. That's justice. The foundation would go on to help hundreds of students like her, each one a reminder to my parents of what they had thrown away and what I had built from the ashes of their rejection. Sometimes success isn't about proving your parents wrong. Sometimes it's about proving yourself right. And then using that success to ensure no one else has to sleep on park benches for daring to follow their dreams. The coffee shop menu still hangs in my office, not just as a reminder of where I started, but as proof that every masterpiece begins with a single design, even if that design is just a simple menu that changed everything. And somewhere in this city, there's a park bench where a scared 18-year-old girl once slept, clutching a sketchbook and dreaming of proving her worth. She did more than prove it. She built an empire that turned her parents' greatest fear into their last hope for salvation. That's not just success. That's art.